Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. It's about 7 p.m. I've been really going for it on the Craic Shack today, and it's very hot out, so I'm hiding over here in the shade. This video is packed with stuff. There's so much in it, I don't even remember what's there. There's some successes, some failures, a review of a great product, I do some food stuff, and then by the end of the video, I finally meander my way to doing some building work on the Craic Shack, and I make some really great progress. So I think it's a good one, and I hope you enjoy it. Hello from my water tank. When I left you in the last video, I had just discovered that none of my taps were working all across the land because I can only assume the pipes are clogged due to leaves and debris and sand and whatever has gone in as I've been cleaning the tank. So since fixing this problem seems like it's going to be quite horrific, I wasn't going to share it, but I think I actually have a creative solution that might work. So I'll give that a try on camera, and then if it doesn't work, I will despair and turn it off and solve the problem. So as you can see, the water is flowing out of this tap, and the water is not flowing out of my second terrace tap, and it's not flowing from the bottom terraces either. So I believe because the second terrace is blocked, it's a problem in this pipe right here, possibly somewhere around this T-junction. I could take all this apart, but getting these large pipes back together is really, really tough, so I don't want to do that. So instead, what I've done is rerouted the pump that takes the water up to those tanks there. That's quite powerful, and I've created a hose and stuck it into the hole. So the idea is to try to blast the debris out using the pressure of the pump. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I thought it would be a fun experiment to share. Okay, here goes nothing. So I actually tried this already and the pump didn't work. So I thought if I'd made sure it's working, make sure it's pumping before I stick it in the hole, that would be the best way forward. But this is a two-handed job, so I'll see you soon from the bottom tap, and hopefully it works. Please work, please work, please work, please work, please work. Jet, cross your little paws for me that this works, because I'm not exactly sure what to do if it doesn't. Please work, please work, please work, please work. Please work, please work, please work. I don't hear anything, and this is a little bit discouraging. Well, it was worth a try, and my other idea is to actually connect the pipes so that the water doesn't have anywhere to go but down through the pipes, but I think that might require me removing the steps so I can actually get in there and work. So it's probably going to be a full day of work to try to solve this problem. And I have to solve it today because I share my water with my neighbors and they're going to be taking that tomorrow. So it's frustrating, it's going to be tough, but let's end this little segment with a beautiful sunflower, and I'm going to hope for the best, and I'll see you again once I have a solution. Okay, the stairs are off, and that took a great effort on my part. Unfortunately, the screws weren't accessible. They had been screwed into the piece underneath the stairs, and so I just had to go at it with brute force and ignorance. But I got it off without too much damage to the staircase, and I'll reassemble it at a later date. But it does give me the opportunity, at least, to work in here. So perhaps while the stairs are off, I'll find time to make a water basin for the overflow, catching everything that comes out of the rocks so that my garden doesn't get flooded in the winter. As you might notice, the pipes are as they were before, and that's because, would you believe it, right when I got the steps off on the last bash, when they fell to the ground, I started hearing water flowing from the second terrace, and it definitely wasn't flowing before because it's pretty loud. So even though that's kind of annoying and the timing was very strange, I'm not going to complain because it looks like I have flowing water. So I've been down to turn it off, and let's turn it back on and see if this is actually working like before. Ah, wonderful. So that makes me very happy. But let's see what's going on down on the other terraces. If the taps aren't working on this lower terrace, then that means there's another block, and I'm definitely not sure how I'm going to solve that one because the pipes are quite long and they're also buried. So I really hope this works. Okay, tap. Don't let me down. Music to my ears. Oh, oh, oh. Come on. Come on, you know you want to. Uh-oh. Interesting. So water has gotten down there. Oh. Okay, okay. I think it's good. I'm gonna leave that open for a minute and go try the other one in the corner. So I was a little bit worried there, but it's sounding okay. And one thing I wanted to mention was, yeah, living this life off grid, there's all these problems that crop up. And so you might have your day planned for one thing and something fails or breaks or gets clogged, and suddenly your day is thrown into complete disarray. Oftentimes you'll have to go to town to buy a part, and you just have to roll with the punches and hope for the best. So since that other pipe is working, I'm not too worried about this one, but I won't know for sure until I crack it open and give it a try. All right, so that's working as it should. I feel a lot of relief. Oh, hello there. Are you monitoring the situation down here? He's the foreman, always watching, always around, and I can hear the water flowing, and so life is good, the pipes are good, and I'm gonna get on with my day. Starting with seed saving, deck reassembly, and lunch. I love this space. I'm so happy to have the deck reassembled, especially knowing that I have clean water underneath me. So I'm gonna enjoy my lunch under the shady cloth and the beautiful breeze, and I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy many more lunches down here as well. This one is a special one because it's my gazpacho that I made the other day from tomatoes from my garden, and it's my second favorite thing that I make from my tomatoes. My first favorite is tomato chutney, smoky, spicy tomato chutney, and I'm gonna make that later on in this video because I have so many tomatoes and I'm definitely gonna be churning out the recipes with them. This is delicious, and it's probably one of the easiest things you could ever make. You don't have to chop anything. You just stick it all in the blender, and there you go. It takes as long as it takes to gather the ingredients together. I guess you have to peel the garlic and peel the onions, but besides that, it really is just sticking everything in, and it's super simple. So I'm gonna enjoy my gazpacho while I take some seeds out of this cucumber. My cucumber bed over in the corner of the garden was an epic failure, and so I'm gonna take one of these big ones that has been sitting on the vine for a while, harvest the seeds, save them, basically by putting the seeds in a jar of water and allowing them to ferment for 3 days or so that all the gunk that's on them comes off. And when that process is finished in a few days, I'll put them in a seed tray. Hopefully they germinate, and I'll see if I can't get them back in the ground and possibly get another harvest of cucumbers before this summer is up. So before I harvest the seeds, I've got this little gizmo. It's an Outland minnow, and I reviewed it in my last video. You can see that there. And I'm just sharing it again because it's a fantastic little gadget, and I've been having my morning coffee with this thing. It only takes a few minutes to actually make the coffee. So in here I've got some water at the top. I've already loaded it with coffee at the bottom. You just push the button for 2 seconds. And it'll start doing its thing. It comes with a little coffee cup under there, and you can actually just carry it with you and just do it like that, but I have this handy little stand. So this is set up in my kitchen, and it's what I have every morning because the espresso that this makes is a lot better than what I make myself. So in a couple of minutes, this fabulous little gizmo is gonna spit out some amazing coffee, and in the meantime, I'm gonna save some seeds. And just like that, I have a lovely cup of espresso, and I have a lovely cup of cucumber seeds as well. So it says to top that up with a bit of water, and it's going to ferment after a few days. And I like to top my espresso up with a little bit of cold water so I can enjoy it without having to wait for it to cool down, and so it's not quite so strong. So cheers! Ah, delicious. This is me in my happy spot. I'm enjoying something that I've made with produce from the garden. I solved a problem this morning with the water. I'm saving seeds and experimenting, and I just love being on this deck and enjoying a lovely day in the shade. So I'm gonna finish my gazpacho, finish my coffee, get tidied up down here, and then I'll see you in the afternoon for maybe the Craic Shack, maybe the garden, maybe something else. I haven't decided yet. So after the successful pipe unclogging this morning, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling confident, and so I thought I would tackle a job that I'm really not very good at and I really don't like, and that's hanging shade cloth, because as you can see, it's very sunny and it's very hot today, but it's going to get a lot worse. And I definitely do not like the idea of working on the Craic Shack in the direct sunlight, so let's hang some shade. So having the Craic Shack vertical gives me something to work from, because the other posts are all too short and I've just never had a good spot to hang shade. So I'm hoping having this here is going to make things a little easier. Okay, so I'll tie this off from somewhere down here, and that means I can easily untie it and pull it tighter as needed. So I think this is going to work very nicely. Concept proven. You've seen me do this one, and the camera does not like the heat right now, so I'm going to put it away and finish things off with the snap. Well, I have shade, but this has been a truly traumatic experience spanning several hours of work. I find hanging these things to be really difficult. It's hard to figure out where the rope needs to go, what direction, and you just end up with them facing all sorts of different directions, and it's saggy in the middle, and I don't know, it's really hard to hang them when I don't have a lot of choice. So I actually ended up running rope all the way over there. At one point, I even had rope going all the way over to the tree beyond my car, which is completely insane. And in the end, after a whole bunch of trial and error, a lot of swearing, I fell over at one point and scraped my knee. I got a blister on my foot, and basically it was not enjoyable, but I'm happy with it, even though there's a space in the middle, you know, which isn't ideal. It'll help out. It's gonna be much better than how it was before, and yeah. Well, the sun is sneaking through there. Let's go over here. So it's gonna protect me at certain parts of the day, and I can always shift around to avoid this annoying little gap in the shade cloth. I also tended to the very unruly grapevine growing on the pergola. It was in the way of where I wanted to put the ropes, so I cut it back. And I went down to the garden as well and picked a whole bunch of tomatoes that I'm gonna use to make some tomato chutney. I also ended up getting some from Sinead's place as well, so I have loads of tomatoes to work with. So I'm planning for a relaxing evening, cooking up some tomato chutney, maybe watch something on TV, and just chill out in preparation for a big day of working on the Craic Shack tomorrow. So even though the shade cloths aren't perfect, this one here is definitely a little low. It's a vast improvement to the way it was, and it'll help me work for a lot longer, a lot more comfortably going into the future, especially since we have a heat wave coming. So I'm gonna say goodbye from what is actually a very beautiful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow from under my shade cloth for work on the Craic Shack. Good morning, everybody. It's a gorgeous day so far. I'm really happy to see the shade cloths are still up after what was a very windy night. And I have before you an exciting product. So far, it's a box within a box, but let's get this thing out. A company called Aferiy have just sent me this portable power station, and I'm really excited to give it a try because these things are so useful for living this life out here off-grid. They make amazing backup batteries. They run appliances that my house isn't strong enough to run, and you can never have enough backup when you live off-grid. So I'm gonna get this thing out of the packaging. It looks like it's packed up very well, which is nice to see. And let's get it out and take a look. Okay, here she is in all her glory. It's a beautiful design. It's got some handles because it is actually quite heavy. It's a very powerful battery. It's actually even more powerful than my house. I have a 1600 watt inverter, and this thing is 2800 watts, which means it's going to power things that my house can't power. It has 13 outputs of all different types. It's got DC, it's got USB stuff here, and then the regular power outputs over here. I've never been a van lifer myself, but I know these things are perfect for sticking in your van or caravan. They're very portable, and it basically just allows you to bring all of your power needs on the go, especially if you have the solar panels that you can bring along with them. It just gives you so much freedom and mobility, basically. But for me, my main motivation for having something like this is to use it in the Craic Shack on appliances that my house isn't strong enough to power. I was actually talking to an electrician friend today about wiring the Craic Shack up, and basically I have plans to run a wire to hook up over to the wiring there, and then inside the Craic Shack there's going to be sockets that are powered from the house. But as I mentioned, my inverter really isn't that powerful, so I'm limited to what I can run, and having this battery in the Craic Shack, living in there full time, will allow me to power things like the kettle, toasters, powerful blenders, and things that I can't really run on my home system. Plus it gives me an amazing backup option as well. Oftentimes in the winter the sun doesn't shine, the days are shorter, and my system is only one battery so far, so I run out of power after 3 days of no sun, and having this Aferiy battery will allow me to keep my fridge running, keep the lights on in the house, and provide an amazing backup. It has 2048 watt hours, and it'll do the trick to tide me through until the sun shines again in the winter. This is also going to be amazing for powering tools, not only powerful tools that my house can't run, but also just for taking things on the go. So at the moment I have a lot of battery powered Makita tools, but they're quite expensive. So in the future, if I wanted mobility and a tool that plugs in, which are a lot cheaper usually, then I can have the battery for the mobility and then bring the tool wherever I need it. The thing that I'm possibly most excited about for this battery is its ability to power an air conditioner. So part of my long-term master plan is to eventually have aircon going in the house for these crazy hot summers. It's not so bad right now, but we have a heat wave coming up next week, and if I can power an air conditioner off of this thing, it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I'm going to test that out a little later on in the video, because Sinead has an air conditioner down at hers, and I can roll the battery down in the wheelbarrow and give it a go. So let's see if this thing has come with any charge. Probably arrived fully empty. So no charge. Oh, we've got 26%, and apparently this thing goes from 0 to 100 in an hour and a half. So I'm going to get this thing plugged in, charged up, and then we're going to test it with the air conditioner a little later on. And right now I'm feeling very motivated to continue working on the Craic Shack. I actually spent a lot of last night chopping for my tomato chutney, my spicy, smoky tomato chutney. It's delicious. I love it. And then this morning I continued adding in the other ingredients and stirred it up, and it's simmering away on the stove now. So getting the Craic Shack up and running is my top priority, because it's going to just give me a much nicer space to work. The light in there will be really nice, and so I can do more filming of food prep. It'll give me more space in my kitchen, and it's just going to be lovely and glorious, and hopefully this thing is finished by the end of the summer when the harvest really starts rolling in. So that's enough talking for the moment. Let's get to work, starting with preparing this plywood. The garden is producing, and food prep is about to move into full swing, so I'm really pushing forward on the Craic Shack as quickly as I can. I would absolutely love to have this thing not done necessarily, but usable by September, when the garden produce starts overwhelming me. My kitchen is fine for doing stuff, but I really am excited for a dedicated space that has everything I need and is just well lit, so I can do some nice filming, and a place where I can store all of the food related stuff. I'll probably have a hob so I can do some canning out there without having to heat up my house. I'll have a sink. and as many appliances as I can pile into there. I'll just be buying things as I can afford them, and it's just going to be, I think, a wonderful space for all of my food preparation needs. And so I'm extremely motivated right now to keep pushing forward. Okay, that's it for sanding for the moment. It's way too hot out here, and I'm gonna take a break until the evening time. But before I take a break, I'm gonna head down to Sinead's with this Aferiy battery and see if it works in her air conditioner. I did have a bit of a surprise when I went to charge the battery. It was set at 1800 watts input, and my system is only 1600 watts total, so it obviously wouldn't work. It would kind of start to charge and then shut down and charge again and shut down. It didn't get anywhere. But fortunately, it was an easy fix, just a push of a button, and I was able to cycle through a whole bunch of different charging levels and set it to 600 watts where the charge was slower, but that's okay. It works on my home system, and that's all I can ask for, really. This battery is great for its combination of portability and power. It's just under 22 kilos or 50 pounds, and I can move it around on my own with a little bit of effort. It's kind of bulky, and it's not ideal trying to manhandle it around by myself, but I can do it. And once I introduce a wheelbarrow into the mix or another person, you can really get this thing anywhere you need to go very easily. And so I took the battery on the road down to Sinead's and plugged it into her air conditioner, and thankfully it worked. And so I'm imagining a future where my tiny stone house is powered by the Aferiy battery, and I have an air conditioner running, and it might not happen this summer, but I'm gonna aim for it for next summer for sure. Good morning, everybody, from a very gloomy day and a very sad Tracy Trumpet. I guess she hasn't been getting enough water. I'm gonna give her a good drink now, and then I'm gonna tackle the Craic Shack. Unfortunately, for reasons unknown, my water pump has been on the fritz for the past few days, and I've had a hard time filling up the tank beside the house, which is what I water Tracy Trumpet from and the rest of the upper garden. And Tracy seems to be the only one that's really suffering. Everything else seems fine. But I need to monitor the situation, because if my water pump goes, I'm in trouble. So I'm gonna give Tracy a nice drink. I'm gonna give the rest of the garden a good water as well. And then my goal for the rest of this day is working on the Craic Shack. Because the work on the Craic Shack has been very stoppy-starty lately. And it's been hard to get in the rhythm, so I'd really just like to dedicate a full day to it and to see if I can get most of the wood that I have laying around used up. And yeah, just keep pushing forward on the project. Okay, let's go. So even though I'm motivated to work on the Craic Shack, that doesn't mean that things are going to go quickly. And so I thought it might be a good idea to just fill you in on my vision, because it's going to unfold very slowly. Right now, my goal is just to get all of the bits of wood I have laying around the place onto the building, finish up the frame as much as I can with the wood that I have, and get all of the wattles onto the wall. I'm going to have to buy more of those, but if I can just clear the space and get everything ready, that'll be a win for now. And then I'm going to move on to the rafters, square those up, get them to be a more uniform size, and then start thinking about the roof. And to think about the roof, I have to go ask somebody about tiles and learn more about that. And then once I get the roof on, I'll finish the walls, get the clay on, get the lime on, and that'll give me a complete structure And I also have to think about wiring and plumbing and other stuff as well. But that's the order of things, and even though I feel extremely overwhelmed at times with all of the work I have ahead of me, I think each stage of this process is going to be an opportunity to learn, and I think it's going to be very interesting for me to figure out, and it's going to show some really amazing results at the end as well. So this has been a really fun project so far, and I have loads more work on the way, but I've got to say I really am enjoying every moment of it. So this work has been incredibly repetitive, pretty tedious, but the results have been good, and I've managed to get a couple more supports onto the back, and now I'm going for getting this thick chunky support on. This one is going to be seen on the back wall, so you'll have sort of two panels where it's clay plastering, the beam in the middle, and I think it's going to look nice. I was thinking about just doing supports that you don't see through the wall, but I like the idea of the beam, so I'll do that instead. And so basically I'm sawing this off little by little and trying it, sawing it again, trying it, and sawing it again. And so yeah, it's very slow, very tedious, and I'm just gonna get on with things. So when you see me again, this piece here will be upright in the middle over there. This piece here will be sawed in half down the middle. And then I'm gonna work on the window there and another support piece over there similar to that one. And then I'm gonna continue on putting the wattles in place. So, lots to do. I'll see you soon. Hello again from the Craic Shack. It's quite late in the day. The sun's starting to go down. It's about 6 p.m. and I've been really busy trying to get this thing into place, which ended up being a bit more of a headache than I would have liked because I cut it too short and I had to shim it. But in the end, it actually worked out okay because I really wanted to get this piece nice and tight against this piece here, and being able to shim it and sort of ratchet it up or lever it up to be nice and tight was something that worked out really well in the end, even though it does look a little bit crazy. I also got this piece into place here, screwing it in up at the top, and this piece is basically going to act as an extra support for these, and all of these side pieces, it's quite tight in here. All of these bigger pieces here are going to also act as something that I can attach shelving to. So I wanted to get one there, one there. I wanted to get 3 of them across so that I could eventually have lots of things to attach shelves to and have everything be really nice and sturdy. So slow as the work may be, I finally feel like I'm making progress on the walls. I have to put a lot of the wattles across still, but the structure itself is mostly in place. And part of the structure is going to be this thing down here and the other 3 that I cut, and I'll show you what that's for in a minute. My first 2 tasks for this evening are to get these little pieces in place up there, and then I'm going to saw the window hole out just by chopping those away with a circular saw. So I feel like these will be quite rewarding jobs, and so let's get started. So I gotta say that this is proving a little bit harder than I expected. I have pre-drilled the wood, but I haven't pre-nailed, so it seems like that's the way to go. Also, it's really hot out here, and my attempts at hanging shade cloth, they were not the best. And I have a big old gap right where I work the most, so that's kind of ridiculous. But because it was such a hard job to do, I just don't have it in me to sort it out today, so I'm just gonna persevere working in this horrible sunny spot in this hot heat, and hopefully I can get this done. Okay, last one for the moment. This has been kind of brutal in this heat, and I don't want to blame the nails, but I also want to blame the nails. They're kind of crap. They keep bending. It could be my hammering technique, you know, but it's easier just to blame the tools sometimes, and today is just one of those frustrating evenings where I just want to get this done and blame the poor nails and my lack of shade cloth and the heat for all of my mistakes. That's gonna have to do, because would you believe it? My camera rebelled. The sun is beating down and it decided to turn off because it got too hot. So the camera has been living in the freezer momentarily and it's back to life, but I'm gonna rush through this and saw a window. Well, I guess I could have gone a little deeper with the blade. I suppose some of these bits of wood are different thicknesses. But I do love a bit of brute force and ignorance, and that seems to do the trick. All right, so as you can see, I have a future windowsill here. This isn't actually screwed in. It's just sitting there, just jammed in, so I can move this down if I choose to, but I think this could be a good size. And with the window in the front and this window here at the side, I think it's gonna bring in a lot of light. And I'll probably have some bottle type walls on the front and back, and possibly another window up here in the triangle, and maybe even another one on the other side. If not for ventilation, at least for some lights. Okay guys, so my camera is really not loving life at the moment. It overheated again. I'm gonna show you what this thing is, and I have 3 more there, and I'm gonna cut probably some others as well. And basically the idea is that this piece of plywood or piece of OSB or whatever you call it is going to wedge itself into this space here. Get in there. Well, it fits, but I'm trying to do it one-handed. So basically that sits in there on both sides. It's gonna go in further. And then I'm gonna put the wattles on the other side as well. And in between, I'm gonna stuff a whole bunch of straw that's coated lightly, hopefully in clay, possibly in lime if I can't find a good clay supply. There'll be a board on the other side, and it'll just be lightly packed in, but the clay will, the straw will sneak through these a little bit, and it'll fill up the space and create a little bit of an insulated pocket for the window, and then I plaster on top of that. So basically it just gives it a little bit of soundproofing, a little bit of insulation, and it means that I'm using a lot less material because the straw doesn't need to be compressed very much, and you want the air in there so that it acts as insulation. So that's the idea with this thing, and that's the idea with those things. I have a bunch more over there to put on. That's probably my next job. And yeah, overall, things are going really well. If only I could get the camera to cooperate. So I'm gonna call it quits from this video and hide away somewhere cooler for the rest of the evening. But this has been a fun one, I think. There's been some successes with the pipes magically unclogging themselves, some failures with my abysmal attempt at shade cloth. The Craic Shack has pushed forward. I've made some food. Lots of stuff. I don't even remember what else. And it's just been really good. Plus, I got to review a fabulous portable battery. These things are excellent, and I really do like this one from Aferiy. And I have lots of details below, including links to the product through my affiliate page, and also a discount code as well. So check that out if you're in the market for something like this. I would even go so far as to say, if you're setting up off-grid, it might even be worth looking into a portable battery like this, rather than getting a whole home system. The portability is amazing, and it works out a lot cheaper, and I feel like it's just the full package in one little box. You get some panels separate, and it's not quite as confusing as what my home system was when I first set it up. So that's just my advice, something I might rethink in the future if I was to do the off-grid thing again. Anyway, it's roasting. I don't need to be standing out here babbling away. I'm gonna say goodbye from this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.